Sup traders, it's trades here. Took a trade this week. Haven't been taking that many this year, but just taking the really good A+ setups that I've been seeing. Not really been able to take many due to work, but let's just go over the trade that I took last week. I took the trade on Thursday. Not many news out at that time, so let's just dive straight into it. The week before closed with this bullish or bearish looking pin bar where price rejected a weekly time frame fair value gap right there. However, because with all this bullish momentum going up, I was expecting price to continue higher or potentially continue higher next week into this level right here, just below that fair value gap, which is where I think we can finally see some resistance. But we might see some resistance here as well. I'm not predicting long term. That's something I stopped doing. I look at lower time frames and see where price is moving. So yeah, we put in this pin bar. We rejected the 50% of that fair value gap last week, right? We didn't close above it. Again this week as well, we didn't close above it. Gaps open up and then we just continued lower. So let's just dive straight into how that looks. We came into last week, so yeah, trade was on a Thursday. This was a Thursday candle right there. I might as well do the weekly review, right? So Thursday ended up like that, and then Friday we had a high wick bearish engulfing candle, potentially come down to this low of this 50% or this daily time frame fair value gap and find some support and push up. You can already see it kind of slowing down its momentum as it approaches these levels. But let's go straight into this. So Wednesday candle closed like this. We know after seeing price fail to push up and continue lower, hold this order block right there before putting this bearish, well, price put in this order block, bearish engulfing liquidity candle where it grabbed liquidity, and then again held that order block on Wednesday. To me, that was a pretty good sign that we might actually continue lower. So yeah, that happened on the Tuesday, and Wednesday we had an inside bar candle, and I was expecting price to come into this fair value gap on the daily time frame, and also that 50% off the weekly time frame fair value gap. So that was my zone that I was drawing liquidity, that I was watching. Price put in this inside bar candle on Wednesday, and then Thursday opened, we pushed up, we closed above this level, essentially a market structure shift. You're predicting price to continue higher if you think you're on a bullish order flow. However, instead of following through and pushing up, price fails. Again, this candle failed. It was an inside bar. Another candle, again, not very convincing. This is a 1 p.m. candle, so this is a 6 a.m. UK time candle, 6 to 10 a.m. and you're expecting maybe we're going to continue higher up. However, the next candle, the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time candle, puts in this bearish candle that closes below this bullish fair value gap that price failed to hold. And to me, that's a pretty good sign that, okay, we might actually continue lower down to these fair value gaps, or even first zone for me is right there, and we might come down to that level. So I dropped down to the 1 hour time frame. I was quite busy at the time, but we displaced lower. We left this fair value gap right there. Ideally, you want price might come into this 240 inverse fair value gap. However, that's not what I was predicting. To me, prices moved very rapidly already, and as I saw price come into this level right there above the 8 a.m. candle, which is the 1 a.m. candle UK time, as it came into that level, I took the trade with my targets down to this low. So yeah, you see price wick just above that candle, and I took my entry right around somewhere around here. Wasn't very accurate right at the very top. However, yeah, my entry was there. We took liquidity right there, and then we dropped. Honestly, that is a very good trade. Could have waited for price to give me more on the lower time frame, on the 15-minute, not so much 5-minute yet, but I don't have the time to look for the 5-minute time frame. So you can see exact same pattern as the 240 time frame. We had consolidation, boom, price manipulated. It looked like this is a break above a range, and then you could trade break out from the range and continue higher. Pulls back, we failed to hold, then we're putting this candle right there that shows the momentum that price is going into. And then we continue lower in it, an order block, boom, and then we continue down to that low, down almost into the 50% of that weekly time frame fair value gap, which we don't touch. If you were to, you know, have your targets there, just be careful, it's not always going to test those areas. And then yeah, we continue lower going into Thursday, pulled back. Oh yeah, on Thursday we pulled back again. I wasn't convinced, you know, it's going to continue lower, but because the target is still weekly time for fair value gap 50%, we could potentially come down to that on Monday morning and find some support. So again, we came up to this high right there, took out liquidity on Friday 9 p.m. that's what, 2 p.m. UK time. It's getting quite late, isn't it? Accumulation, manipulation, market structure shift right there, and then pull back, and then it's come down at the moment to potentially drop lower. It couldn't. Great trade, very patient I was with this trade. Didn't fall for the bullish order flow, potential order flow after close above this structure, and it's the fact that I waited for price to give me more and more information. Like, I didn't just go short after seeing price push up here or seeing this candle. No, I waited after I saw this candle, this 5 a.m. candle, which is a 10 a.m. candle, fail to continue higher, close below this bullish fair value gap, turn it into an inverse fair value gap, drop down to the lower time frame, and patiently took a trade just above after price, you know, pulled above this candle into a fair value gap. And on the 15-minute, that was even more convincing because we actually had a swing high right there, and as price took out liquidity there, I took a short. Great trade. Hopefully I can repeat trades like this going forward.